Hi, welcome back to My Life with Plants. I'm Newman. Here we are today with a big cleanup. Good stuff everywhere. Move this camera a little bit. Yep. In the plant grower, you start to collect stuff. So today is one of those days where you try to sort this stuff out, which I'm doing right here. Try not to just shove it in one place so that it gets all lost again. So in here you have hooks and stuff like that. So there's no mistake that I'm going to put all of these together in the same place. Nothing to do with hooks. In actual fact, the nylon that I have here, I should keep that in there for now. What else do we have here? These are some long screws. They do come in handy. Some, I don't remember these. Stainless hooks. And what's interesting is how rusty they are. So there must be ones that I've already used. Recycling them. These things here are, you drill a hole in concrete and then you knock this in with a mallet. And then when you put your screw in here, what happens is that the screw goes into here. This is all the way into the wall. And then you put your screw in, and as it goes in, it spreads this plastic out and tightens, so that you can put screws into concrete and hang things, which is what I'm going to be doing. It reminds me, because I got my concrete drill. This is, let me find that. There's some other ones here. This is the one that actually makes the hole in the concrete. It's quite an unusual shape on the end of it, but it's diamond tipped. So it makes them expensive, these drills. But I will be doing so in the garden because there's a lovely wall there, not very high, but it has the potential to put plants on and hang them. So I'm planning on making a nice garden there. I mean, really nice. Negotiations are up on garden space at the moment. And I'm not an unreasonable person. I just want, well, I've been living here for 12 years, and I would just like some space in the garden with all the work I've been doing in there, slowly happening. And plus the mother-in-law is almost in her 80s, and she complains a lot about not being able to look after it all. and I said I would take a small part of it and then make it look really nice. I mean, it will be nice when it's finished. It will never be totally finished, of course, but all these years I've been going to nurseries and looking up online about plants. I would like to have more exotics, but the thing is that the climate won't allow it. So I've got to go. If I want big leafy tropical looking plants, I've got to go with the native Japanese plants, because they are frost and cold hardy down to minus temperatures, and also the tropical summers being a natural plant from this environment, better to go with that. But there are a few exotics, but they also come from similar climates. So like Aspidestra, cast iron plant, is native to Japan. You've got Blatila ground orchids, or Chinese ground orchids. There's quite a lot. This is my Dolomite lime. Put into here. Probably can't see what I'm doing over this side. I'm actually got this box that my wife, she had this storage box left over and she let me use it, which was nice. So like I said before, cleaning up is a non-stop thing. Oh look, there's some slow release there that I really need. Kesho Suna. Kesho, makeup sand. Makeup sand. Make up your plants, make them look nice. And it's good to find this. I always do need a slow release for my house plants, because the house plants are in pots, as you know, and the peg just broke. They don't have the ability to get all the nutrients they can, because I don't have a habit of repotting my plants too often, so I don't think they need it, unless the leaves are shrinking. That's so good. As I said before, I always make sure that the soil has a good pH, so that plants stay happy for many years in their pot. Alright, we've got a big jumble up of stuff here. It makes it hard to find, so yeah, I was looking for tags the other day. Here they are here. Look. Starting to get messy, see? And it was getting hard for me to find things, more tags, because I need them for the garden, just in case, you know, you might want to walk in the garden there and you're not sure where to tread your foot. You've got to have some labels. So I always put a big label in for plants, especially new ones I've planted. I have bought some more native grassy plants, can't remember the name of them. I did get some exotics, and they are miniature agapanthus, which can take quite a bit of frost. They do get a little bit of damage. These ones are kind of on the hardier side, miniatures, but they have lots of flowers and just easy maintenance, hardy, easy going. And I had to pick up some of those too. So in here we have zip ties, and you don't want that in there. Zip ties and twist ties. So it makes sense to have those together, doesn't it? Need the twist ties quite a lot. Use them all the time. Used to have some jumbo ones here. Dave from Florida. If you haven't watched Dave, I might put him on the screen here. He gets these big industrial zip ties. I actually picked this up from the dollar shop. Didn't even know they had them. They have them in a complete different section because that's what they like to do over here in Japan. They'll have zip ties in one area and zip ties in a completely different area, and you're supposed to know that. But in my mind, if you have zip ties in your store, you just put the zip ties all together in one area, right? With the you keep them with hobby, in the hobby area, or in around the hobby, and tools. So they do things like that, and I ran into them. Voila! And these ones Dave uses to zip tie his cattleyas on mounts. So I picked those up. Kind of extremely long, so they have to lie down later. Okay, getting back to these tools. Who else wants to clean up with me? Or is this scary? Scary. Alright. Tools are good to go for now. So I don't want to put anything else in there, because if I do, then I'm only going to get confused about what's in it. So these are those concrete plugs, drills, screws, anything that's related to that. Okay, we're not going to put brackets or anything in there. That will just make things confusing, so we're going to keep it like that. Okay. Next thing I want to do is to put labels together. So it makes sense just to keep them in one container. Anything that's a hook, because I'm a hook nut. I like to have any hooks, and I even forget I buy hooks. So I got a supply here. Sometimes I get plants that grow longer, and I need one more hook to lower them so that they fit in the niche in my growing area. I also have this lovely one here that I've been meaning to use. This one might be I think it's brass. This one might be used for the garden. Like I said, there's a wall out there. So, just add these nice smaller ones. I'm always reaching in to get a hook. Yes, you can hang your plants in the windows, and then you see that you have intermediate and lower spaces. As you look, you can have all your plants hanging at one level, but then if you have a plant, and I'll tend to use these ropes here, I make a nice long rope with a hook, and then I can have one hanging at a lower level, and an even lower level than that, and you can actually hang 3 plants in one spot. Okay, hooks. I want to exclude brackets because they're kind of different. Brackets are going to go into this one. These are hooks. These come in handy because you might be growing your plants in your favorite window. Maybe you want to have a hook that dangles from one area to another, and then along on here you can actually hang some small phalaenopsis. You just have little hooks that hook in between each link, and it looks really nice too. I've done that. So these hooks, I don't want to have them banging around in there, so I will just put them in this bag. I won't forget they're in there because actually I've had them in these envelopes many times before, so it's not like I'm going to forget. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to put that in here now. Oops, I think I bumped it. Hooks in. This would be a tool. What I use this sieve for, it's actually for tea, or straining tea bags, or I actually use this for getting cacti seed out of pulpy fruits. Put the fruit on here and I rub it as it's underwater, like that, and then all the pulp will go through the sieve and all the seeds will be left over. Nice handy tool to have. And I will put that in with the other tools I have here. I try to keep them together, all the tools. Speaking about brackets, this one here. It's also got some chains. Okay, now we have some more screws. These little paddy things are actually for roofing. So you put this before you put the screw in, and it stops squeaking. Because as the sun comes out, the sun will make the screw rub on the plastic because things move in the heat, and you'll hear crack, 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 and it stops that sound, dampens it. Here's another chain. And you can go in there, and then I'm going to open this back up because we found more screws. So we'll do that. And if I get tired of it, I'm doing this, I'll just stop, do something else. Brackets, otherwise concrete fillets. I'll be back in a minute. I gotta go somewhere. Now, another reason why I'm getting my own part of the garden is because all these things I've been talking to you about, making the garden full. It's kind of empty down there, and it has been for many years, and I want to be creative and do some pretty neat things. So you can imagine a garden that has trees in it, right? Okay, it's got trees. There's a few things growing in amongst underneath them, but it's pretty bare. And I have just the right plants to grow, and I've seen them in the neighborhood for years. I take note of them. And not only that, if you do a good job and you choose the right plants, right for the right area, I mean exactly the right area where they can actually do really well. And it's going to help with other things like weeds and stuff like that. But I will have the space there for weeds to grow. What I mean by that is that you need little spaces here and there for your annuals. But I do have some trees. I have Phaeacia japonica, and I've chosen that because it's tropical looking. Has the big palmate leaves. It has flowers in the winter time, which are great for bees, especially when there's not a lot of pollen around. Good for the birds too, so that the birds don't pick my dendrobium buds to death. And I have an Australian native tree, and I not Leptospermum or something like that, and it has very thin bright green leaves. It's very slender, produces a nice dappled sunlight, which is going to be great for other things growing underneath it. Don't want to lose this. This is part of a hose, pressure hose, watering can. These are really handy to have. Looking at the Daiso shop, they are little rose heads. They're pretty neat, huh? And you just screw them on top of a plastic drink bottle, and then you have a watering can. And being the chipmunk or the seagull on the beach, I tend to collect too many of one thing. I'm a parrot on the beach. I like to collect stuff. Even got another one here. Gosh. Oh my gosh. I've got 4 of them. What am I doing? Okay, before I blow my mind, I'm going to these little ketchup bottles. These things are pretty handy too if you're collecting seed in your garden. Vice versa, you got the little ketchup containers like this. They're pretty neat for collecting seed in your garden, or maybe you've got little tiny cuttings, something like that. You really need to put it somewhere. Lots of empty containers here. Bicycle elastic band that you have on the back of the bicycle for carrying goods. Maybe one Monday night, 1 p.m. in the morning, you wake up and you see that neat looking thing that somebody has put out on trash day, and you got this ready, this elastic, and then you pick it up and stick it on the back of the bicycle, and you tie it on with this really strong elastic that is used for carrying goods. And by the way, collecting stuff from pickup sites or garbage sites outside is illegal in Japan. I've seen people being stopped for that. These elastic bands are also very good if you have plants that are swaying around in the breeze and you need to reinforce them, but you need something that's not gonna, you need something with some give, right? It's not gonna strangle the trunk of the tree. I do put these around my tall spheroid sometimes in the high winds. Don't throw away your onion bags, because these nets, believe it or not, can be converted into great displays for hanging plants in your garden. So you fill this with sphagnum moss, tie it off, make a ball, right? And then put a little tiny cut here, and then put in your rabbit's foot fern here and there on your great big moss ball, or you could plant your dendrobiums in there, and this will hold the moss together so it doesn't fall all out when you water it. So don't throw these away, they are useful, and being the hoarder I am, I always have that in mind and I keep them. Yes, what else do I have? I think that's about it. These are just brackets, swivel brackets for, if I can find the opening. Here's one that was already opened. We always keep a supply of these because, for one thing, they swivel, and then you put your stake through there and it holds it, and then you can add another stake so that you can make a frame which is around my cacti, because sometimes I've got to hang a net up around that table, stop them burning. Yes, and not to mention lots of string. I always get this rope that can be used for hanging plants, it can be used for tying things off. I always have a supply of cotton rope. And tape. I keep a supply of tape. Also I got these candles that are left over from parties, and I light the candles, and the wax is used to seal off cuts and wounds on trees in the garden or cuttings. It works really well, I've done it already. And bonsai wire. So I'm starting to run out of this grade. And bonsai wire is nice and pliable, and I use it for hanging a lot of my orchids and the trees in the garden. Yeah, and string is my garden string. One more you might find interesting are sucker cups. You might have to hang a net or something in the window because your plants are facing south, I'm in the northern hemisphere, so the south is the sunniest side, and you might want to stick a couple of these on your window so you can hang a curtain, because maybe you don't have a curtain on their window. So these come in handy too, so that you can keep your indoor plants from being burnt. Alright, so I hope you found this interesting, having a look at my mallet. This is my mallet. This 500N. I always have my Stanley knife or box cutter. And I have a smaller one, and that one is made for doing incisions. And not to mention, this is a soldering iron, and it's used for making holes in pots. Maybe I need even more holes than it already has, but you can buy different grades. You can buy ones that are even bigger than that. I have a pH meter, but the best pH meter of all is my nose. My nose is my pH meter. Okay, I hope you enjoyed watching and you found this interesting. This was a look in my garden supply bin, or one of 3, because I got 2 more outside that have all the shea cloth all rolled up, and also plastic lids that protect plants from frost. Yeah, and another thing I gotta start cleaning up are all my spare pots that I keep, because you know, when I see some nice pots, then I gotta hoard those too. Check out these ones. These are a kind of ceramic plastic, so they'll last forever. It lasts for years and years and years and decades. But I love these pots, especially for plants like my orchid, jewel orchid and stuff like that. Okay, all done. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time. Bye bye.